welcome to you, Marshall. Excited to have you and be able to have a conversation with you about your clients, Andrew and Carla, who recently made a placement with Hello Garage, one of our franchisor members, and wanted to just kind of pick your brain a little bit about what your experience was with Hello Garage and the team, and then also your client's experience with the team and the brand, and kind of just start there and see where we go from there.
I had started working with Andrew and Carlo probably a year and a half ago. Andrew had just gotten disenchanted with corporate life. He wasn't feeling challenged, and he was just looking for something different. Hello Garage was a second round of concepts. He had looked at a first round, had gotten bound up just with life and work, and just put the whole process on hold. And then came back with one of the concepts that I'd shown him previous, went pretty far, and spoke with owners, and then came back and said, this is really great. I like these aspects about this concept, but I'm not sure I like the concept. And so I said, that's great. Thank you for that input. I mean, we've both learned from this journey, and so introduced him to several other concepts. One of those was Hello Garage, and he right off the bat glommed right onto it. And I think he did because he could really visualize what a garage renovation might mean for him, and he felt like that was something he could present not only to his neighbors but also to others as well. And as he progressed in the learning, I think Jake at Hello Garage was really good. I mean, in just taking him through, not being pushy, just everything really gelled. But I think the turning point in the whole journey was when Andrew got to go to Discovery Day. He came back from Discovery Day and he was overwhelmed by the support, by the professionalism, by the marketing. I mean, every person he met he just was just ecstatic about the experience. And I think that's really what sealed it, because he was looking at one other concept and they were neck and neck for a long time. And ultimately he went with Hello Garage, and I think what put him over the edge was that interaction he had at Discovery Day.
Love it. And the question that came to my mind when you were talking is, was Hello Garage something that Andrew even thought of before you introduced it?
No, and that's a common refrain. I mean, and that's what I love really about what I do. I mean, in that there are a couple things. I really see myself as a small business evangelist. I really believe in the power of the individual and what the individual can accomplish if they have the right information, and they can just let loose. And that's what's so fun about what I do. The other fun part about it is it's incredible. Every day it's incredible as to how people in this country can make money and build a business. And Hello Garage is just an example of that. I mean, who knew that, when my wife asked me to clean the garage out, spring cleaning type of thing, hey, there's a franchise for that, much less an app there, so it's kind of cool. And that was Andrew's experience as well.
I love kind of the way you put it of that's what the fun part is, because it's also things that I would never expect either. I have kind of the things that I interact with on a daily basis when it comes to a business or different concepts or things just in my day-to-day life, but you don't even realize, like you said, what small businesses are, what opportunities there are, what you can do as a business owner, and just being able to expand people's knowledge about it. Because the other thing that came to my mind was just education. And without you and without Jake, Andrew like never would have even gotten to the point of Discovery Day. So I don't know, was there anything that really stuck out to you, or anything that really helped Andrew and Carla like get to that point where they were excited to attend that Discovery Day, and that really then like was the cherry on top. But it was like a lot of work to get to that point.
Sure. I think the big thing is, as opposed to other types of businesses, franchising is a real, provides some opportunities for someone who hasn't ever really thought about ownership from a due diligence perspective. Specifically, I think Andrew was interested in ownership, but it's an unknown to so many people. To your point, I think what really resonated with him was the fact that he could be in business for himself, but not by himself. And so, the whole story about, going to Discovery Day, and I encourage, my clients to do that, whether they feel like it's going to go, into an investment level or not, because at the end of the day, these are your partners. These are the people you're going to pick up and call when you run into a snag. And just as importantly, you get to meet other people like you who are looking at this concept. And so you not only learn from, your potential future partners, but you also learn from these other people at a Discovery Day. And what's so important about being a franchisee is you literally can pick up the phone of another franchisee and go, hey, look, I've run into this problem. Can you help me? And it's not like, I mean, it's amazing how supportive other franchisees are in these concepts that we work with. And people, you talk about it, you encourage your client to explore that, but when they really see it and feel it, in a circumstance like Discovery Day, that it really brings it home.
100%. And I just thinking about like how it's actually incredible how few, how, or I would say like how many misconceptions maybe there are around franchising and business ownership, and kind of those two things. But and maybe people even feel like, I don't know, fears around it or like scared about it. But when you have that chance to just learn and just go talk to these people who are also doing it, it like takes away a lot of that fear. And like, did anything like that ever come up for Andrew or Carla? Like, I know a lot of times too, it's hard to kind of get the significant other on board sometimes. But were there anything that like, I don't know, any obstacles or any challenges that came up for Andrew with anything that you were able to kind of work through, or that the education just really cleared up?
I think in a broad sense, I mean, if you think about childhood experience, your experience when you left college, think about the questions that every single adult ever asked you. It was, what do you want to be when you grow up? What are you going to do when you graduate college? All right, I guarantee you that most people's answers are not, I want to be a business owner. I want to be a serial entrepreneur. Everybody says, I'm going to go work for XYZ company, or I want to be a fireman, or I want to be a police. Everybody is going to, in essence, work for somebody else. Nobody thinks about the other. So when all of a sudden you're presented with the alternative of being the owner and having the opportunity to build your team, to create a culture. People don't leave their jobs because their job is terrible. They leave their job because the culture's wrong. They leave their job because they're not challenged. They leave their job because their boss just doesn't get some of the aspects about being a coaching, mentoring boss that actually is concerned about your future, right? So now all of a sudden, you have the opportunity, if those things are important to you, you have those opportunities to do those things not only for yourself, but other people in your community. And your success can be their success. And that, for Andrew and for Carla. I mean, Carla was really funny because Andrew's a very operationally oriented. Carla is the sales and marketing mind. And, when Andrew went to Carla and said, hey, look, we ought to do this together. And Carla laughed at him, 3 times before coming back to him and saying, "Oh, you're serious?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, here are the skill sets that you have and the skill sets, here are my gaps. It would be great if we had this opportunity together. Oh, and just as importantly, maybe if we do it right and build this business, our kids can come and work the business, once we get it built and running." Later in that weekend, she came back and said, that's not a crazy idea. Let's explore it further. So, again, I mean, that's kind of the beauty of it. And I, unlike some of my colleagues, it's challenging for me to get the spouse or together and talk some of these things through so they're hearing it secondhand. Um, but in this case, Carla kind of picked up on it and ran with it, so it's kind of fun.
And I like too the fact that like Andrew kind of drank the Kool-Aid, or like he saw that like wow. And this is why I love franchising, because I don't know, yeah, exactly. It's like there's just so many great things about it, but and then he was able to be like, no, no, no. Like I truly do believe this is something we can do together, and was able to kind of share that then with her. And then it just goes into the whole, like, we talk about income, lifestyle, wealth, and equity, but then it goes into now he's going to kind of change the course of his like family potentially, who they probably were, his kids are thinking, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get a job, kind of do what dad did, and go down that route. And now they're kind of changing it up where it's like they can create a family of business owners and, just people who are able to achieve their income, lifestyle, wealth, and equity. And the kids can start right from the very young age. So it's like a ripple effect too.
Well, and the other side too, I mean, without getting too far in the
Yeah.
weeds, all of a sudden they understand that there are advantages that you can start to incorporate certain expenses, and you can do certain things as a business owner that you can't really do as an employee. And so it's not just it's not just being a business owner and creating your all those types of things. There are advantages, and as people really begin to understand that, you know, light bulbs go off. And then again with Andrew, the other big hurdle is, well, I can't afford a business. I don't know how to do that. Where am I going to get the money from? And when he discovered that he had an opportunity to fund his business with 401k funds without getting penalized by the government, I mean, all of a sudden he's going, you know what? I can actually use my retirement funds to fund this business that will ultimately fund my retirement. Oh, and by the way, I'm investing in myself. I'm not dependent on somebody else, or the whoop and woof of, the market. I get to do this and control this myself. And that was just a huge, again, another one of those little avenues that people don't appreciate if they never have this opportunity to learn about these things.
Absolutely. And this is what I want to shout from the rooftops of like with the entrepreneur source too. I truly believe that people can't, they don't have this space anywhere else. Like what you and the other TS coaches do is not really a bit like, yes, you can learn about franchises, but I just think the approach that you take and I don't know, just so exciting. And also these are people that I think TES and like you take time with these people where let's say, he's saying like funding, how am I ever going to do that? And maybe in another space, it would kind of end there, like the journey would kind of end there. But because of the education and just the space that we have, it it just allows for that education to take place. And it's like, no, there's like other ways here, and it's fine that you don't know about them, but we're here to help you learn what's out there.
And the other thing that's great too is Jake Hamburger at Hello Garage, I mean, embraced all that. right? And so as we, or we are sharing back and forth, here, this is what he's learned, this is what he'd like to learn. So, but Jake embraced all that as well. And so as my client, as Andrew came into this, Jake wasn't looking at it, okay, well, I've got to get this deal all sewn up and done. He took the time, and worked with Andrew as he was learning about this specific concept and how this specific concept suited, his goals in order to be successful. And it's huge. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had the experience. I had some friends growing up who'd never seen the ocean before, never been to the beach before. And, the first time they saw the ocean, I mean, it revolutionized. I mean, they just couldn't get it that, here's the sand and this is where the world ends and this is where the water starts. I mean, there were just some wild stuff that went on in their, life's perspective. And that's really what we do every day is, we take somebody to the water side who's never seen a body of water that big. Anyway, so it's just really fun.
I love that analogy. I'm going to steal it and I'll give you credit.
All right.
I know I really like that way of looking at it. And so I know we're like coming up at the end of the time here. So I want to kind of open it up to you for more general, like big picture, but kind of two questions, and you can kind of choose if you want to answer both or one. But when you look at, after this, you made a placement, had these great clients, and, had a great experience. What are you excited about looking at 2022, looking at the next 6 months? And then the second part of that is, in general, what has been like an aha moment for you as a coach? Just either with this specific situation or these particular clients or, something in the past year. So those are two kind of different questions. So if you want to.
Well, I think for me, looking at 2022, what I'm excited about, in 2021, third and fourth quarter, there were more requests for employee identification numbers. I mean, it spiked. I really believe one of the silver linings about the pandemic is people began to realize, I don't have to travel every week. I've got a client right now in North Carolina who, comes home on Friday night after being gone the entire week. Now his kids are out of the house, they're in college. At the same time, he's like, I don't want my wife there all by herself with the dog all week long. I'd like to enjoy being home too. And I don't have to live like this.
Mm-hmm.
There are alternatives. And so, sharing those alternatives with people who are going through that same kind of metamorphosis is really fun. And then from an aha standpoint for me, and I'll just share my personal experience. I mean, and it has been a huge aha for me. So I'm a little different in that I didn't come right out of a corporate environment. I'd been in corporate environments, I'd been in the military, I've been in startup environments, but really for the last, I don't know, 20 years, I've worked for myself or been a partner in an entity that was mine. So I had flexibility, I had all those things. But what I didn't really fully appreciate that franchising does, that the other aspects of what I um, didn't do, is you really are, and the entrepreneur source is not the only one like this. I hear this from so many different franchisees. You are truly in business for yourself, but not by yourself. I mean, and I look at the pandemic and I look at some of these concepts that had to pivot. I mean, they had to really change the way they were doing things. I mean, one home improvement concept all of a sudden started doing virtual in-home consultations. Oh, by the way, you just expanded my business. All of a sudden now I can be wherever my client wants me to be whenever they want. I can just do it virtually. If they
Hmm.
don't want somebody in the house for whatever reason, it could be I want to clean my
Yeah.
house and bring somebody else in there, right? So I mean, it could be anything like that, and it wouldn't have gotten
Mhm.
done if somebody in that group hadn't said, "I'm going to do this," and then all of a sudden started to share their experiences, and then just as importantly, going, "This is how you do it." I mean, in the competitive environments that I have been in, I never could pick up a phone of another real estate broker and go, "Hey, I'm having this problem selling real estate. Can you help me?" You know, it just
Yep.
never happens. Or "Hey, competitive machine shop. Hey, I'm having a problem running this machine. I can't get this tool to do what it's designed to do. Can you come and set my machine up for me?" All right, I mean, there's no way. And so that to
Yeah.
me has been an aha
Mm.
about what we do and about this environment.
Amen. Amen to all the above. I feel like that's another thing too of franchising, business ownership, this space that and the entrepreneur source. Like I was talking to someone earlier today about like collaboration and that like if I had $1 for every time I said the word collaboration, I'd like own a yacht. But like it just is such an integral part if we're going to be successful to what we do, like our franchisor members. And when you look at franchising as a whole, when you look at those really strong brands with the franchisees who are so like excited about it and excited about like what they can do and are really invested in the brand, like it is the collaboration. Like I can pick up the phone and call my franchisor, I can pick up the phone and call my fellow, business owner franchisee, and that's just a massive part of it. So I agree, and this has been great. I know we're over, and I think I actually have a call as well. But any last words that you want to mention here?
No, I think we've kind of covered the waterfront. Going back to your yacht comment, for me, it's been
Yeah.
fun, and it's really fun when you can, meet someone like Andrew and Carla, and you know, really have an impact in what their life can look like. That is really fun, and it's just, I'm a woodworking hobbyist, and when somebody shows you a tool that all of a sudden makes this activity incredibly simple, it's like, that's exactly kind of what happens. What happened with Andrew and Carla. All of a sudden, they realize that this tool called Hello Garage could actually help them achieve the things that they wanted to achieve. And that's really pretty rewarding.
Yeah, and that's why I love hearing these stories because, I can go in and see, who sent the RFC, who referred them to which brand, and then on the other side, I can see when the placement is made. But to hear kind of the in between and like the impact is really, I don't know, it's just like very heartwarming and just really, it just really gets me excited about what it is that we do because it's, yes, like it's life changing for these people in a really great way. And so that's what I get excited about.